LNS is here for you, celebrating 75 years of bringing you the news with 6 News at 5.
Michigan State is in search of a new athletic director after MSU announced the departure of Alan Haller today. It is our top story today at 5. Thanks for joining us. I'm Sherry Jones. Now, the news came out this morning, and 6 Sports Director Ian Kress is here now with more of the details on this.
Yeah, Sherry, there's been talks about something like this happening for a few weeks now, and this morning there was a meeting with the MSU coaches to inform them Haller will no longer be the athletic director at Michigan State. Haller was officially appointed the position on September 1st, 2021, and his last day with the university will be on May 11th. In a press release, MSU President Kevin Guskowitz thanked Haller for his time at MSU and said he will seek a new athletic director who can best navigate the changing landscape of collegiate athletics while working closely with both internal and external stakeholders to move Michigan State forward as a leader among the Power 4 institutions. Haller hired football coach Jonathan Smith after being the one to fire former football coach Mel Tucker for a sexual harassment investigation. Altogether, 7 new head coaches have been hired under his leadership, and we had a chance today to talk with baseball coach Jake Boss Jr. and get his reaction to this news.
Grateful for the job that I think that Alan did, in his service to our university. I mean, he's a local guy like myself, and so I know this place is very special to us, especially because we are local guys. And so, he took over in a tough time right after COVID, and he's made some great hires here, and I know he worked his tail off for Michigan State. And so, I think we're all as a athletics staff very appreciative of that.
Haller's contract was set to expire on September 1st of 2026, and until a new hire is made, current Deputy Athletic Director Jennifer Smith and men's basketball coach Tom Izzo will serve as co-interim athletic directors. Sherry, back to you.
Ian, thank you for that. In other MSU sports news today, former football coach Mel Tucker is responding to a defamation lawsuit filed by sexual assault advocate Brenda Tracy, saying he had a mutual, consensual relationship with her. Tucker made the claims in a court filing in response to Tracy's lawsuit, which was filed back in October. That lawsuit claimed Tucker intentionally tried to ruin her reputation with false statements, including his claims that she made up the charges to get money from him and MSU. Tucker was fired as the MSU head football coach in September of 2023 after a complaint that Tracy filed with MSU became public. President Donald Trump will be looking for a new person to lead his national security team, with National Security Advisor Mike Waltz leaving to take a new position. Erica Brown is here for you with the latest from the White House.
National Security Advisor Mike Waltz briefly greeted reporters Thursday morning at the White House, shortly after the news broke he was leaving his post.
If Mike's leaving, that's the president's decision, and we support that.
President Trump posted on social media, "I am pleased to announce that I will be nominating Mike Waltz to be the next United States ambassador to the United Nations." Waltz came under fire in March when he inadvertently included a reporter in a group chat on the messaging app Signal, in which Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth discussed sensitive military details about a planned strike on Houthi rebels in Yemen.
Pete Hegseth, who's doing a fantastic job. Pete, thank you.
President Trump acknowledged Hegseth during an event in the Rose Garden Thursday and maintains he's standing by the defense secretary, who has also faced backlash for disclosing sensitive details in the chat.
This administration has already shown that they're incapable of nominating people for these very important roles who are actually qualified to do the job.
President Trump says Secretary of State Marco Rubio will temporarily assume the duties of National Security Advisor. The change comes as the White House works to broker a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine and bring Iran to the table to talk about its nuclear program. Waltz sent a message to Iran Thursday morning just before his change in job status.
Iran needs to get the message that it can be a responsible country, that the President of the United States wants peace. He's ready to make a deal, and that it cannot have a nuclear weapon.
Secretary Hegseth issued a strong warning to Iran about its support of the Houthi rebels, saying on social media, "You will pay the consequence at the time and place of our choosing." Erica Brown, CBS News, the White House.
Also in Washington, the Trump administration is now calling for more reliance on behavioral therapy for transgender youth instead of broader gender-affirming medical care. A report from the Department of Health and Human Services questions the current practices, as well as the medical groups that endorse them. The administration's position, released today, sprang from the president's executive order calling for the federal government not to support gender transition for people under the age of 19. A court has put some parts of that order on hold. Meanwhile, activists from coast to coast took to the streets today as part of May Day demonstrations. Thousands of union members and immigrant rights advocates gathered in downtown LA, demanding accountability from elected officials. In Phoenix, protesters took aim at President Trump's policies targeting immigrants, federal workers, and diversity programs. In Chicago, protesters marched from Union Park to Grant Park, calling for an end to deportations and worker exploitation.
Right now, the attacks on, or attempted attacks on immigrant communities, on workers, are higher than ever. And that's why it's more important that faith communities come out.
Also known as International Workers' Day, May Day was first established back in 1889. It commemorates the massive labor movement here in the U.S. that eventually led to the 8-hour workday. Here in Lansing, the economy was on the minds of state Democrats today as they marked May Day by introducing legislation they say will expand workers' rights in Michigan.
We are proud to unveil a legislative package that delivers on a promise of long overdue and much deserved to restore balance, fairness, and respect in the workplace. At the heart of this package is a critical reform to the Labor Management Act, a prohibition on the use of replacement workers during labor disputes.
State House Democrats say this legislation they proposed is aimed at improving educational outcomes, enhancing services for our veterans, addressing poverty and homelessness, and advancing criminal justice reform. Well, May is also Motorcycle Safety Awareness Month, and today Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson kicked off the Michigan Department of State's annual Look Twice, Save a Life safety campaign. Since the start of this campaign back in 2019, there's been a 33% increase in Michigan drivers who report they always look twice for motorcyclists before making any turns. And that's according to a 2023 survey commissioned by the Michigan Department of State. There are more than 610,000 licensed motorcyclists in Michigan. Also starting today for the third year in a row, the city of East Lansing is encouraging its homeowners to leave their lawnmower in the garage for the entire month. Yes, it's for No Mow May, an international conservation initiative that encourages property owners to reduce, or better yet, even eliminate any mowing during the entire month of May. Scientists say this allows flowering plants to grow, which then helps support food sources for bees and other pollinators. The city of East Lansing says during this time it will suspend enforcement of grass height restrictions within the city limits.
From Storm Tracker 6, this is Weather First, sponsored by Auto Owners Insurance. Simple human sense.
If you're like me out there this morning, the thunder and lightning certainly woke me up. It was pretty loud out, and some of the rainfall was coming down fairly heavy as well. Here's a look at our rainfall total since midnight. Hillsdale only 1900s, and creep up to almost 3/10 for Jackson. Then for Lansing 3200s, but Grand Ledge and St. John's over a ½ an inch of rainfall, and it was really coming down at my place in Grand Ledge this morning, and more is on the way. Here's a look at our rain chances over the next couple days, and we're in the chance category for this evening with a few scattered showers out there. But then as we move along, early morning there's additional chance for showers. Then here comes the weekend, and now we're in the low chance, which we like to see. Things overall are looking fairly good as we get closer to the weekend. Doppler radar this afternoon shows more showers and storms to our southwest, but these are not the kind that give you severe weather. As you look at this in 3D, you need to have storms that are relatively tall in the atmosphere. These are less than 20,000 feet, and from a meteorologist perspective, that means very low chances that any significant winds come out of these. Maybe a little pea-sized hail at worst, but again, the severe weather chance is just not there. As we broaden out the view once again to our west, a little more rain over towards Green Bay and to our southwest. So we'll continue with rain chances for this evening. One area of low pressure is going to move off to the north and east. Tomorrow, it's certainly not a washout. The bulk of the day is going to be dry, just a chance of a few spotty showers here or there. But as you can see, through 5, 6, 7 o'clock tomorrow evening, it's still relatively quiet. There's a secondary area of low pressure that's going to be lurking to our south, trying to spoil our weekend. But for us on Saturday morning, looks like a little rain to our east, a little to our southwest, and then we kind of stay on just barely on the dry side of that storm system. If you're heading south of the state line, a lot more rain, but hopefully we'll keep it dry, and hopefully that clearing line is a little bit further south to give us a nicer weekend. Temperatures currently 67 Owasso, St. John's up to 72 degrees, 69 Ann Arbor, same thing in Mason, 70 in Charlotte. It's a nice, comfortable afternoon out there. On the Skyview network, we've got a mix of clouds and sun on the McLaren Cam, temperature up to 71 now, and there's that rainfall total of 3,200ths of an inch. In Grand Ledge, we've got some sunshine, temperatures now up to 71 after a morning low of 46, and a very impressive not only wind speed but the precipitation total with those storms this morning, winds gusted a little over 30 miles per hour. Jackson Cam, mostly sunny skies, temperature 72, that is the high, wind gust up to 22 miles per hour. And finally in Hillsdale, mix of clouds and sun, we're at 73 degrees with wind gusts just a little over 20 miles per hour. Tonight's forecast, some evening storms, a couple showers, overnight low down to 46 degrees. A few more showers may dot the area tomorrow, but this is not going to be a washout of a day. I think the cloud cover more than anything will be the weather rule for tomorrow. The 6-day forecast, as we move into the weekend, I did increase the cloud cover a little bit, but we could end up partly cloudy. Upper 50s Saturday, 60s on Sunday. Next week still looks delightful with highs in the 70s. And I couldn't consolidate those rain chances, at least yet. So chance for some showers next weekend.
You know, this morning, like you said, though, with the rain coming in and then cleared out sunny and actually very warm.
Yeah, I was a little surprised when I stepped out how muggy it felt
So
today.
was I, because it's cooler in the house.
Yeah, no doubt. It felt that way in my house, and I put my jacket on to walk the dog. Well, I don't need this today.
Oh, I was right there with you. Thanks, David. Coming up on 6 News at 5, we'll have the latest on the minerals deal reached with the U.S. and Ukraine. Details on that straight ahead on 6 News at 5.